expelled his father and his men from Jerusalem, Absalom was faced with the tough job of maintaining the kingdom, or should we say, retaining power. It is one thing to get to power, it's another thing to actually stay there, to actually now govern. And as we have found so far, the guy has nothing in his head except his hair. Only his fine hair, that's all that is in his head. After getting there, tell me how we should govern. The Lord had given instruction before in the law for how kings should begin to govern. When you are sent to the throne, first thing, make a copy of the law of God. By making copies, you will learn what God has said on how to govern. Had he consulted the Lord, he would know that it wasn't the Lord who brought him there, so you can expect the Lord to keep him there. If the Lord did not bring you to a place, don't expect the Lord to sustain you there. So now he has a tough job in his hand of retaining power, retaining the kingdom. Will he succeed? We'll find. We'll find. Meaning he had to ensure that his father and his men had no chance of returning to recapture the throne of Israel. Hello, are you following? He had to make sure that his father and his men will have no way to return back to power. As long as David and his men remained, he was never going to succeed. Wherever they were, he would never be safe. One day will be one day. They will come for him. So fighting against and eliminating his father was not in question. That was for sure. It had to be. It was something he had to do now that he was at the point of no return. Especially after raping his father's concubines, that was the point of no return. He had no choice now but to fight, to keep himself in power, to perpetuate himself in power. Outline, before we get into it, verses 1 to 14. Ahithophel's counsel defeated. 1 to 14. Ahithophel's counsel defeated. (15 to 22). David's spy chain. David's spy chain perfected. You see powerful espionage here and a whole chain involved in it. From this person to that person to that person to get it done. David's spy chain perfected. There was a chain of the spies. This one linking with this one linked with this one, information was moving. David's spy chain perfected. Verse 23 stands alone. Ahithophel's life ended. Ahithophel's life ended. 24 to 29. David's entourage tended. Tended. T-E-N-D-E-D. Tended, that means provided for. If you read the passage, you would know. David's entourage tended. Can we now go ahead? I did not hear yes, but I'm going ahead. Whether you yes or no. So verses 1 to 14, Ahithophel's counsel defeated. That's what we just read. It's a longer chapter that way, so we will read the rest as we continue studying. Now, Absalom, remembering, has gotten to the point of no return. It must be 5. Ahithophel has given one successful counsel already. Successful, but not a good counsel. That's a terrible counsel that came out of a vengeful spirit. There is nothing that comes out of a vengeful spirit that will be good. David, you might say, raped Bathsheba, the granddaughter of Ahithophel. And Ahithophel, claiming a higher moral ground, will advise David's son to rape 10 of his father's concubines. Because you know this was not by mutual consent. No, it wasn't. So, Revenge, usually, when you go about things with a vengeful spirit, you end up doing 10 times worse. You will always do worse than what the word says. The Lord's way of dealing things is that the punishment for a certain offense should be commensurate, should be the same level measured with the offense. Therefore, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. That is not revenge. That is punishment being the same level with the offense. Otherwise, usually, it will be if you use machete on me, then I'll use gun on you. It's usually worse. If you push me, then I'll blow you. That's how human beings work with revenge. Revenge is always worse than what is. This is why the Lord will tell us, vengeance should be mine. Leave it for me. Don't avenge yourself. The wrath of man does not produce the righteousness of God. Never. And so Absalom himself too, who was angry that Amnon raped his sister, will end up being 10 times worse, the monster that his brother Amnon was, because of a vengeful spirit. And both will be destroyed in this chapter and the next. Talking about Absalom and Ahithophel. Both going about it in a vengeful manner. Ahithophel has given one successful counsel, so he feels now that he's set up. This is his opportune time. His star is shining. It's time to get to power. So Ahithophel said to Absalom, now let me choose 12,000 men, and I'll arise and pursue. I want you to pay attention to this. Let me choose 12,000 men, and I will arise and pursue David tonight. I will come upon him while he is weary and weak and make him afraid, and all the people who are with him will flee, and I will strike only the king. Then I will bring back all the people to you. He now has inserted himself there. I. I'll do this, I'll do this, I'll do that. So he has, you can see from these statements that he has personal beef with David. He said, I don't have to kill all the other people. I don't have problems with them. But you see this man, he's offended me so much. I can't forgive. I have to get him. He wants to see David dead. But he said, now, you know the man who was the grandfather of Bathsheba had to be very old, older than David by far. But he wants to take the place now. And we never heard anything about him being a warrior before. But he wants now to be the commander of the army, to lead this thing. But do you realize that if Absalom is taking power, he should be the commander, he should be in charge. Ahithophel said, don't worry, I will be in charge. I will do this because of his personal beef, personal interest in this. He said, I'll come upon him. I know by now, I know your father, I know how things work. He will be tired, and it's the best time to catch them. They are not so strong enough to fight. They have been running all day. We don't need to allow this thing to, I see they hot. Maybe you have heard that say. Just go after them. This was the best strategy, humanly speaking, at this point. And there was no reason. We read in verse 4 that they say it pleased Absalom and all the elders of Israel. There was no reason not to go for it right then. But because God is at work. Remember, David had made a prayer that God will answer. Because God is at work, verse 5, then Absalom said, now call Hushai the Archite. Hushai was not there, and as Ahithophel was saying, he said, objection, my lord, I have a better idea. No, he wasn't there. They went and called him. This thing has pleased you. Go for it. The only explanation as to why they wouldn't go for it and go and send and call another man and say, oh yeah, come and advise. Do you think this is good? When everybody knew that the counsel of Ahithophel at that time was top-notch. It has to be that God was working to the intent, as we saw in verse 14, of destroying Absalom. So Absalom sent and said, "Now call Hushai the Archite also, and let us hear what he says too." When Hushai came to Absalom, you see this man that came to the throne, he has no opinion of his own. The man that came to the throne has no opinion of his own. If they talk here, okay, this one sounds good. Oh yeah, may talk, hey, that one sounds good. Maybe if our leaders had a blueprint of what they came to do, then their servants will not be overzealous, as we see. So when Hushai came to Absalom, Absalom said to him, spoke to him, saying, "Ahithophel has spoken in this man. Shall we do as he says? If not, speak up. Maybe you said you will show loyalty to me as you showed to your father. I want to hear." So Hushai said, "I'm glad you asked." You know that kind of scenario. Nobody called me to the meeting before. Now they have called me. I'm glad you asked. The advice that Ahithophel has given is not good at this. It's good though, but it's not the best. Eh? Remember that what Ahithophel said before, at least everybody. Now they're going, huh? And Ahithophel will be going, what does he have that's better than this? It's good, but not the best. So Hushai sows some seed of doubt in that committee. Okay, let's hear him out now. But I thought that was just it. But, oh yeah, come up. You're an aged man. For Hushai said, "You know your father and his men, that they are mighty men, and they are enraged in their minds, like a bear robbed of her cubs in the field." And everybody will be going, "That's true, that's true." Are you following? And your father is a man of war. He will not camp with the people. Others will also say, "That's true." David is a sneaky, smart guy. No. He's used to these kind of terrains. Nobody today started a run. If there's any running champion escaping, evading anybody that's chasing them or hunting them, in the Bible, all of the Bible, David. Gold medalist for hiding. So you know he's not anyhow man. That's true. Surely by now he's hidden in some pit or in some other place. And it will be. By now he's hidden in some place. They'll say that's possible. That's totally possible. David, knowing him, all his stories, you know, read them for news before. This man is like that. Hushai, you sabi and well. That's how Ahithophel no think well. And it will be when some of them are overthrown at the first. You know, this will be your first war that you fight now as a king. You get there now, you send your servants, and they get there, and then something goes wrong. That whoever hears it will say, "There is a slaughter among the people who follow Absalom." And even the valiant, whose heart is like the heart of a lion, will melt completely. For all Israel knows that your father is a mighty man, and those who are with him are valiant men. These men have survived many wars. You know them now. You say, this thing is true. It's true. Now, I failed to mention something in verse 1. Or to point something else. Ahithophel said to give him how many men? 12,000. To go after how many? 600. That is 20 men to 1. 20 times. That is actually a credit to David and the kind of men with him. They know they are no small people. You know, when we read about them, giant killers. So they were fearsome men. So you don't know, you don't just go and fight such people anyhow. So he's appealing to David's prowess here and casting a shadow, casting dust over Ahithophel's counsel. By now, everybody listening to Hushai, he's a man with crafty words. Everyone listening to him by now has forgotten Ahithophel's counsel. Wait, this man, he get what? If anybody is making noise, say this. Shh. Wait, let's hear. This man has something. He's saying something. Something there, sense the inside. And then he continued. Therefore, I advise. Okay. You say Ahithophel. Everything I said up to this point is Ahithophel's own is not good. But then, what do you proffer? Therefore, I advise. You know, some people in life, they only know how to cajole another person's own. Cancel it. And make it, no, this is not going to work. No, this is your idea, no be good. A terrible idea. They no get alternative. They don't have any alternative. The man had alternative. You know the thing about the Lord, he doesn't just tell us what not to do. He tells us what to do. He's not just a negative God. His word tells us what to do in place of that. I love 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 22. Maybe it just has 2 everywhere. It's easy to remember. 2 Timothy is 2 Timothy 2:22. Don't forget it. It says to flee youthful lust, then pursue righteousness. You run away from this, stay away from this, but then this is what you should replace it with. Something better. Therefore, I advise that all Israel be fully gathered to you from Dan to Beersheba. Dan to Beersheba in those days was like Sokoto to Lagos. From the farthest north to the southernmost point. Let them be gathered together like the sand that is by the sea for multitude. You know that Absalom likes crowds. He has been doing stuff to manipulate people to get the crowds together. So this will, please, I'm hearing. I thought he's stroking his baby, but he was actually stroking his hair. He will probably be stroking his hair at this point. You know his hair now. That's the only nice thing about him. Fine looks, fine bubble, and fine hair. He'll be like, tell me more. So they're stroking his ego to gather the people together. That sounds good. So the whole people will now see the new king. Not just 200 people that are invited. The whole multitude. Hi. I like the sound of that. After we gather them, what do we do? It says, and that you go to battle in person. Maybe this is Ahithophel, now old man. But you, young blood, the new king, will lead his troop. I like it. His head is swelling. His hair is shining. But he forgot that he's no warrior. At best, he's a murderer. Even the murder man, now servants do him. He no get mind. To burn Joab's field, now servants do him. No being do him. No liver. But now go lead. Sounds good. So you should lead, not Ahithophel. I like it. I was asking Chindi. Chindi, give me some of this thing. Look at the thing, they grow up. And Chindi, Papa, give me some of it. Do you like my condition like this? And Absalom was on the other side of the thing. Verse 12. So we will come upon him in some place where he may be found, and we will fall on him, and as the dew falls on the ground. You know, when we do fall, you know they skip everywhere. We go just everywhere. We will not skip anything. It must be caught. And of him and all the men who are with him, there shall not be left so much as one. You know, if we kill only the king, this man say, don't kill anybody, kill only the king and bring the other people. If we kill only the king, his men can revolt against you. We need to wipe them out so that there will be no chance of insurrection against you. You can rule in peace. You know what he will do with his head now? Moreover, if he tries to flee from the field and runs into a city, withdraws into a city, then all Israel shall bring ropes to that city. Which kind of rope? And we will pull that city into the river until there is not left one small stone found in that city. What kind of absurdity is this being suggested? To make matters worse, verse 14, he said that this thing, they bought it. Absalom and all the men of Israel, after thinking of this, they say the advice of Hushai, the Archite, is better than the advice of Ahithophel. Wow! They bought this crazy idea. God must be working. There is God. There must be God. There is no other explanation to buy this useless idea of drawing a city into the sea. Isn't that a craze? Ahithophel must be looking at all of them like, what? Guys, they say, forget that man. Hushai is the man. Let's go. Go and gather all Israel. While you are busy gathering all Israel, David is busy. Famusin. No go see him again. I don't go. He was buying time for his friend. Remember, he's still serving David, but in a different role. Hushai. He's buying time for his friend to escape fire. After this absurd suggestion, and the crazy people buying it, he says, for the Lord had proposed to defeat the good advice of Ahithophel to the intent that the Lord might bring disaster on Absalom. Then Hushai said to Zadok and Abiathar the priest, remember the ones who brought the ark, and David said, take it back, it's not mine. Thus, so Ahithophel advised Absalom and the elders of Israel, and thus and so I have advised. It was time to get the informants to get to work. Time for the informants to get to work. Now therefore send quickly and tell David, saying, do not spend this night in the plains of the wilderness, but speedily cross over, lest the king and all the people who are with him be swallowed up. Hushai knows David is not as young as he used to be. When he was talking by now, he's hitting here, he's jumping from here to here. Now, he not be like that time before. He is not like that time where if he jump around anyhow. I bet me tell the king. They are buying it. Looks like they are buying it now. But in case they change their mind, may they not catch up with you tonight. Because if they go and take that Ahithophel on, David will be a dead man that night. You know they fled on foot. In fact, no shoes. If these people come with chariots and horses and all of that, we'll catch up with them. That was how the Egyptian army could catch up with the Israelites after 3 days, because these were on foot and there were older people who were lagging behind. There were younger people too. There were animals and all of that. So you can't compare the person who started journey 3 days ago on foot or 3 hours ago on foot versus car that just began now. Don't let him spend the night. I don't want to see him dead. Now Jonathan and Ahimaaz stayed at En-Rogel. Remember what Hushai said earlier on, whomever the Lord chooses, his I will be. He knows what God's choice, who God's choice was, and stayed with him. We all know God's best for our lives, Jesus Christ. That is God's best for us. Are we staying loyal to him? Or are we subscribing to others? It's a question we all need to answer. Jonathan and Ahimaaz were the sons of Zadok and Abiathar. Ahimaaz was Zadok's son, and Jonathan was Abiathar's son. They say that Enrogel, for they dare not come into the city, or be seen in the city. So a female servant, you see the chain of spies. So the female servant, they told their parents, their fathers, the priests. So the priest will send the female servant, so that it won't be like his sons are escaping to go somewhere. Female servant, maybe like he went to market to go and buy things. And we just go there at Enrogel and tell, which is like about a mile off from Jerusalem, one way, and then go there and tell, and then they themselves, and they would go and tell King David. Nevertheless, a lad saw them and told Absalom, gang, gang. If it's a movie that you're watching, that is when Africa Magic will come in, because that guy has seen them. You know it has heightened the drama at that point. Nevertheless, the lad saw them and told Absalom, trying to gain favor with this new king. Snitches on these guys. And told Absalom. But both of them went out quickly and came to a man's house in Bahurim who had a well in his court, and they went down into it. It doesn't seem like it was the house owners that suggested this, but the house owners saw people come into their compound and go into the well, knowing that people are chasing them. And so quickly, we will read that the woman they went into a man's house in Bahurim. The wife, the word there can be translated as wife. The wife of the house, or the woman of the house, spread a covering over the well's mouth. No doubt that well was not filled with water. Okay? So, spread grain on it, spread something over the well's mouth, a covering, and then put grain on it so that it would look like that grain has been drying since morning. There. And the thing was not known. This family, or this woman, was risking, they were risking their lives. They had no reason, really, to get involved in this. Because if they are caught in between them, David and Absalom, Absalom would destroy them if they found out. They didn't have a choice with people running into their house. But this one that she did now was a choice. It meant that she was choosing support for David, and whatever the cost would be, rather than this phony, without head, without brain, only head. And quite dangerous. But it showed that David still had secret supporters. When we get into a time of trouble, don't be like Jacob, who thinks, all these things are against me. God is working. At that time, when it looks like God is nowhere, just move the N from where? What am I saying? Nowhere. Move the W from the where and shove it over to the N, to the no, and you found that God is now here. When it feels like God is nowhere, God is present. He's always present. He promises never to leave nor forsake us. His own. So he's working. And there are people like this who work. From this point, the story will look like the story of the two spies at Jericho and Rahab's house. The story will kind of look like it. The next things that we read. Whereas this woman will act like what we saw in the book of Judges, the one, I'm trying to remember her name, Jael, the wife of Hobab, who took out the head of one of those, Sisera, yes. Sisera, thank you very much. So there are stories here that are reminiscent of the other. And when Absalom's servants came to the woman at the house, they said, "Where's Ahimaaz and Jonathan? Where are those people that are running here now?" The woman said to them, "They have gone over the water brook." So she protected them. They go chase fast, they cross. They continued there. So when they had searched and could not find them, they returned to Jerusalem. Now it came to pass after they had departed that the two guys came up out of the well and went and told King David and said to David, "Arise and cross over the water quickly, for thus has Ahithophel advised against you." So David and all the people who were with him arose and crossed over the Jordan. By morning light, not one of them was left who had not gone over the Jordan. They went farther away. So their espionage, their job, the spy chain and link was successful. Now when Ahithophel, so you see, if they were caught, the thing would have failed. Word would not get to David in time. Maybe from interrogation they would even know that, okay, and Hushai will be caught over there. Now when Ahithophel saw that his advice was not followed, he saddled a donkey, arose, and went home to his house, to his city, and he put his household in order and hanged himself and died, and he was buried in his father's tomb. Oh, this is what betrayers do. May we not betray, not David this time. We can't betray David, but the son of David. Judas did. As with David, so with the son of David. And both hung themselves. Guilt hung them. Now some might think, and it's reasonable to think, that it was that his advice was not taken, so he felt bad, and men have pride. Our ego has been hurt. So they are taking this one over my own that is top notch. How dare they? I can't take this anymore. There's a guy who was found dead. He killed himself over the weekend in America. Not in America, in UK. He was a professor, the first black professor of Cambridge, I think. And they found just earlier in the month that all his resume was forged. Like he has had so many lies in this thing to get himself to the position. So the thing was exposed. People were calling for him to resign. The next thing, he took his own life. Sadly, sir. Guilt can hang people up. However, I think it's much more than that his ego was dented. Ahithophel, by the time he saw that Absalom and them had subscribed to Hushai's, he knew that was bound to fail. There is no way this will succeed. That thing that they are proposing there. David and his men are better than that. They are smarter than this. This cannot work. That means that David will return. And then I will be rounded up and I will be publicly executed. Because that's what is done to people like that in those days. Now, we don't know that David would have done that. David forgave people. But Ahithophel did not forgive himself. He didn't forgive himself and would not think that David could ever forgive him for this. Instead of them, and normally what they will do is not just the man, they will round up the man's family. That's why it was mentioned here that he went home and put his house in order. They will round up his whole family and execute them publicly. So instead of them doing it to my entire family, let me take my own life to prove that my family has nothing to do with it. They can leave him alone. They can just leave him alone. You see. So he took his own life. David will write in places in the Psalms talking about this man. And how sad. How sad. Ahithophel was supposed to end up a hero in Israel. But he ended up a villain. He ran so well, had worked for King David, given good counsel they took together. But he did not finish well. God help us not to falter at the very end when it really matters. That we will not falter and fail in the very end. That will be sad and tragic. Now, in this whole story, who was the chief culprit? This is Bible study, nice class. Who was the chief culprit? Ahithophel only joined, was invited to join. Who dies first? There are places where the chief culprit might end up in jail, might even escape, and the people they brought along with them will die. Be very careful. The party you join, who you work with, you might end up dying first for waiting you don't carry for head. The one way carry him for head, they sentence him to jail. After they will release him, but the other one has been shot to death. Oh boy, one operation day, we'll go tonight. You'll get your own share, go get my own share. They go. Say, no, be me, be ringleader. The ringleader escapes. Be careful. Ahithophel died. Oh, how sad. Then David went to Mahanaim. Mahanaim was the place where Ishbosheth was crowned king and where he was reigning from. Abner had made him king at Mahanaim. Mahanaim means double camp. It was the place where Jacob's camp was Jacob who named the Mahanaim. Jacob's camp with his family returning from Laban, from Syria. They were, and then a camp of angels was also there the same night. And he said, when he saw the angels, he said, this is double camp. Mahanaim. However, there was not angels appearing at this time, but there will be physical human angels that God will send to bring provision and sustenance in order to tend and care for King David and co. Absalom crossed over the Jordan, he and all the men with him. This is the last time he will cross the Jordan. It's a point of no return. The battle is set, he will die. In the battle, chapter 18, he will die. So he and all the men of Israel with him, and Absalom made Amasa captain. 20,000 of those with him also will die. 20,000 of Israelites that joined in the rebellion, they died too. And Absalom made Amasa captain of the army instead of Joab. This Amasa was the son of a man whose name was Jethro, an Israelite who had gone into Abigail, the daughter of Nahash, sister of Zeruiah, Joab's mother. So Israel and Absalom encamped in the land of Gilead. The land of Gilead. That was where the 2.5 tribes were, on the other side of the Jordan. They crossed the Jordan. You chased out the king to become king in Jerusalem. Now you left Jerusalem. Jerusalem is empty without any king. City without a leader. Brotherless. The battle will be fought not even in the mainland of Israel. Outside of the mainland. The land of Gilead. The land of the Amorites, if you would. Amasa was David's nephew. David had 7 brothers. He was the 8th. But they had 2 sisters, Abigail and Zeruiah. Zeruiah was the mother of Joab, Asahel, and Abishai. Asahel had been killed by Abner, remember. The 2 still remain. Abigail gave birth to Amasa, meaning that Joab and Amasa were cousins. War is bad. A civil war is worse. It's worse. Because now a man's enemies were those of his own household. Son fighting his father. Do you see it? Absalom against David. Nephew, Amasa, will fight against Uncle David. Cousin, Joab, will fight against cousin, Amasa and Absalom. Cousin will kill cousin. And then citizens against each other. Civil war is terrible. War is bad enough. But civil war is terribly worse. When you fight in family, it hurts more. It hurts so much more. Avoid it. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the sons of God. We have no right to be called that if we are not peacemakers. God help us. Jerusalem is left empty, devoid of leadership. Now it happened when David had come to Mahanaim that Shobi the son of Nahash from Rabbah of the people of Ammon. Shobi, son of Nahash. How will be one of the brother of the other one that they killed the other time? The son of Nahash, remember the one that barbed the beer of David's servants and cut their clothes in the buttocks? His brother had learned a lesson. He brought food. Micaiah the son of Amiel from Lodebar. And Barzillai the Gileadite from Rogelim. These were non-Jews, but proselytes, who the Lord used now to bring provisions. David. Because in this region, they have never had it so good as they had it under the rule of David. Therefore, they didn't want that to end. If some of his people did not appreciate it, we appreciate it. So we'll help him. He needs help. He's going into the wilderness. A huge wilderness. Chicken Republic is not there. Pizza Hut. And the rest of them. So there's the provisions that the other guy, Ziba, brought the other time. You have hundreds and hundreds of people. As we'll find out, many people were even defecting to David. When you read chapter 18, verse 1, you read that he made captains over thousands and captains over hundreds. Where did thousands come from all of a sudden? Many had defected back to him. They don't know when he escaped, but the moment they heard their king has escaped, they say, forget this guy. Who be this phony? We're following our king. Oh, in the past, as they pass the villages, now people they follow. Who be this one? Who know? So there are people that were not pleased that the heart of all Israel has followed him. Not everybody. Not everybody. So these ones, they brought beds and basins, meaning cutleries and things to use to eat, prepare food, earthen vessels, wheat, barley, flour, parched grain, beans, lentils, parched. What to cook and what to cook it with, and what to serve with. They brought honey and caused sheep and cheese of the herd. And David and the people who were with him, they brought all this for them to eat. They will even sleep on beds. The king needs it. What goodwill the Lord inspired and stirred up for David. What an encouragement. Everybody is not against you. God is for you. If God be for us, can be against. For they say the people are hungry and weary and thirsty in the wilderness. Helpers we see here risking their lives to help David and go. So God, we see through this, through these people, was graciously providing for the sustenance of David and the entourage, the company that was with him. God tended. Now the son of David, our great king, what's his name? Jesus. He doesn't need our food, for us to cook for him and all of that. But what does he tell us? As much as you have done it to one of the least of these, you have done it for me. I will accept it as you have made food for me too. So we'll do what we do. As the Lord presents needs to us, let's respond. Open our hands. I know this economy, things are tough. These people, they were not giving because they had too much. And you don't have to have too much to give. It doesn't have to. If you can give when you don't have too much, you can also give when you don't have too much. We need to learn to be doing like that. To be giving, not hoarding. They saw need, they jumped in, they met the need. Father, thank you for your word tonight. And for those who have patiently waited to listen, bless your word, O Lord. And I pray that they bear fruits in our lives. Help us not to end up like Ahithophel, hung up by guilt. Maybe we have done things wrong. We have even betrayed you in some ways. Thank you that you are faithful and just to forgive. Teach us to confess, to return to you. For with you there is forgiveness. We give you praise. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you for listening.